Packaging design and advertising are two very different media. Clearly, both have to be singing from the same brand hymn sheet with regards to the tone of voice and the visual aspect that are used. As I've discussed before, it's incredibly important for brands to ensure consistency across all consumer touchpoints. But what happens when pack design starts to mimic the behaviour of advertising or an Instagram post? Can that ever work, or is it simply the wrong canvas? Today, I want to discuss a piece of packaging I feel suffers from this a little, and in doing so dilutes the overall impact on the shelf. So this week, we'll be looking at Ecover washing up liquid. The washing up sector is a space that hasn't changed much in recent years. There are the same old dominant players such as Fairy Liquid and Persil that have a variety of different offerings and fragrances available. All of these are rooted in the idea of efficacy and gentle on the hands. This seems to have been the dominant theme for as long as I can remember. So it's always good when somebody comes in and tries to shake things up a little bit. After all, that's what branding is about, creating differentiation and a little bit of new news. The Ecover brand did this successfully with laundry detergents, where it offered a more eco-friendly alternative to some of the competition, with some beautifully simplistic pack designs which literally sang on the shelf. They've recently made a move into washing up liquid, and the pack design caught my eye, not for the same reasons as the laundry detergent, but for, well, in this first instance, because I was trying to work out what the brand was. Just to give a little bit of backdrop to the pack design here, the entire pack architecture has been reworked so that the focus is on an irreverent key claim rather than the brand logo. Each bottle has a slight variation on a key claim executed in an informal and light-hearted way. So phrases such as "this bottle cleans 3,300 plates," "that's 825 first dates" are really engaging. In fact, so much so that somebody on my LinkedIn post about this commented that he'd worked out that meant the date only had a choice of starter or a dessert. Seriously, some people have far too much time on their hands. This architectural shift means that when the brand appears on shelf, because of the focus of the killer claim, the brand logo is dialed down on pack, and when it's in the SRP, it almost disappears on shelf. In fact, only the top third of the Eco letterform sticks out above the lip of the SRP. Big bold claims are fantastic, but not at the expense of your brand. It's an interesting approach varying the hierarchy of brand versus claim, and I really love the tone of voice, but this does come at the expense of the brand logo, as I mentioned earlier. Playing around with the hierarchy can be an interesting way to grab attention and exert a refreshing tone of voice with your storytelling, but the brand should always be accessible, or you could come across as a private label fallback rather than a big brand choice. In fact, going back to my initial discovery of the product, this is what I first thought it was. Some of the points I mentioned in the previous podcast, number 14, about SRPs, are entirely relevant here. Packaging design shouldn't rely on the SRP to be the sole piece of communication of the brand logo, as often these small surface areas only allow a single colour execution of a logo, and usually at a reduced size. It's much easier to get a large logo on the actual pack itself. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating a make it bigger approach to the logo. It's not about size, it's about accessibility. The key problem for me here is that this elevation of the claim is at the expense of the brand recognition. If you can't see who the brand is, then how can you hope to engage with the consumer? Successful packs have a robust brand architecture that is designed with the SRP in mind. Brands need to create strong ecosystems where different consumer touchpoints work in conjunction with one another. It's great to bring a cheeky, irreverent tone of voice front and centre on the pack design, but you have to remember that advertising and packaging are two very different media. Treating the packaging design like an Instagram post could mean that consumers completely miss you. Consumers engage with posts and packs on the shelf in a completely different way. And whilst it's great to introduce a cheeky and irreverent tone of voice onto the pack if that's part of your core brand essence, this shouldn't be at the detriment of your signposting in order to compete with everything else in the sector. After all, trawling through an Instagram feed is a completely different situation than trawling through a supermarket shelf. Well, that's it. That's a wrap, as they say. I hope you found it informative. If it adds value, then please do subscribe. I'm Al, owner and creative director of Slice Design. You can follow me on my LinkedIn page, which is linkedin.com/in/Alan Gilberty, or you can follow us on our company website, which is slicedesign.co.uk. So until next time, have a fantastic week and keep well.